Okay, live pre-rumble 2025. 1 week until Pottstown, fellas. We got a stacked tournament tomorrow, and it's gonna be a wet one. Buff, I know you're not playing, but how you feeling about Pottstown? How you feeling about the year? What are you feeling?
Well, I think like looking ahead to Pottstown, I think this is going to be a really good prep for next weekend. We're going to see sort of who's trending nicely into the biggest tournament of the year, I would argue. Bummed to not be playing this one on the mend from a small injury, but I'm really excited to see like what happens, just because I think this will help set the tone for what next weekend will look like, especially given a lot of these teams are going to be playing together next weekend. And potentially wet, right? I mean, Pottstown, it feels like it rains every year. So if it
Yeah,
does rain this weekend and the tournament still happens, whoever does well here will be well prepped for what tends to happen in Pottstown. But cross your fingers, I don't want any rain.
yeah, I agree. I love it. All right, let's get into it. So the fives here, these are teams that I just don't know at all. Buffum, do you have anything to say?
I do, but how many teams are there to help set the scene and be like why there are five seeds in the first place? Because it's like a super deep tournament.
Love it. So there's 50 teams, I believe. I'm sure we'll have some add, some drop, but we're looking at a $5,000 pool just for men's side alone. So that's roughly 12 pools, and we'll probably only have two five seeds. I only put these guys as five seeds just because I don't know who they are. And if they do good, I can't be held liable.
Yeah, the good thing is I do know some things about these teams. Specifically, Fry and Kemmer are some buddies of mine that I used to play in men's league on Wednesdays with, and have had adverse experiences against them outdoors. Dam is a serving specialist from St. Francis again, just absolutely nuke serves. And Ruben was a setter at Lancaster Bible, just very solid ball control player. They're both on the smaller side, but they both do everything right. And inside out volleyball, if you can streak a couple of serves and continue to side out, you're going to be annoying to deal with. So seed might be right, but I would be annoyed playing against them.
Yeah.
And also another thing I realized here, if this is who I think it is in the last one, Adrian Shevchuk is a setter at Harvard who's pretty athletic. He's young. He's kind of springy. If that is him, I could see them also being a little bit annoying. Like somebody you're like, oh, I got a five seed. You're like, why have a D1 kid in my pool?
Yeah.
I have not seen him play grass. I've played beach with him a little bit, and he still has good hands. But I think of the fives, those are the two that I know, and I know they could do a little bit of damage potentially.
I will say D1 Ender players I just think are super annoying to have as your four seed because they almost never break pool, but they almost always have good serves and will have one really good game. And if it's against you, it is super annoying.
It's
Um,
super annoying, and they tend to hit the ball a lot too, which is a bigger blocker you like.
I know.
But at the same time, those hits are a little bit harder to defend because
Yep.
they're doing it at a very high level indoors.
And they're using all of their energy while you're trying to conserve yours for playoffs.
Absolutely.
All right, let's
You
move
you
up to
you
the.
talk for yourself, man. I still need to expend that energy to get there.
All right, so these are our threes and four seeds. Few call outs first. I'm going to call out Martin and Cathro. If you don't know Cathro, aka Kathy, you should know him. And if you see a guy walking around at Pottstown with a snake around his neck, that's Kathy. He's a reptile enthusiast. I think he does it for his day job. Either way, guy loves reptiles. He brought a snake or two last year to Pottstown. Electric. Um, then always going to shout out my boy Joey Mack, McClerney there, USA Def Team, still getting better every year, could be dangerous. And then my last call out, and I'll let you talk about some teams, is going to be Nick Vo and Darvin Guan at the top. They are guys I play pickup with in Maryland quite often. This will be their first men's opens tournament, and it's quite a one to play your first time. I mean, this is not Mayfest. This is pre-Rumble, 50 teams. I mean, talk about your first ECV open experience. I think they will break pool play, but on nerves, anything could happen. I mean, it's going to be rainy. They're both short Asian kids who like to swing at everything. Matt, what do you
Yeah,
got?
this is certainly a good tournament to learn stuff at. Like, regardless of how you do on the day, you're going to get good reps because of how deep this tournament is.
Yep.
I think for those of you that know me pretty well, I'm going to start by calling out my boy Tom Burrell playing with Jake Berger. I think from having played with Tom for the past few years, if he can get himself going from the service line, good luck. His serves can be nearly impossible to pass when he's dialed in, and if you can get him a good set, he's also impossible to block So I'll be curious to see how him and Jake do. I think this is their first tournament together leading into Pottstown. Will be some good reps going there. Bernardo and Bilk, I coached Stefan Bilk a little bit. He was 16 when I think he was 15 when I was coaching the 17s team. And him and Anthony Bernardo were a young, spunky team. Didn't do too hot when we played beach in a deep pool, but I know that they do play a lot of volleyball, and I know they get a lot of reps outside of the tournaments. Being young, I think they have the longest runway to improve. And I know from talking to Anthony, they're playing pretty much the whole summer together. So will that added chemistry bode well for them? I could certainly see it happening.
Yeah.
I'm
I'd
gonna
say
look down the list here.
Camille Garbowski also kind of similar to Tom Burrell. If he gets his serve going, good night because that thing comes fast, hard, and from maybe 11 and a half feet.
Yeah, Camille's
Uh,
like he's 6'7" freak. I think he touched 12 feet at one point and played overseas for a little bit.
yeah.
Blocking wise too, if you get too close to the net, he will own the airspace.
My last annoying team to call out, Bill Fish, and I don't know his partner, but Bill Fish, I mean,
Nick Barazna, yeah.
44-inch vertical is just something disgusting. Guy jumps high and takes great pictures. That's all I know.
It certainly does that. Yeah. I'll be curious to see how the Hoke brothers do. It's another ball control team
Yep,
from
yep.
Pennsylvania that always, it tends to be one of those teams that, like I say, this is a compliment, guys, if you're watching, annoying to play against because they
Yeah.
dig and roll shot everything very well. And then one last one I can talk about from personal experience, Tanner Lockoff and Aiden O'Brien both played at Stevenson together. I think Tanner's still there. Aiden's a little bit older. I say older. He's 23, graduated like
Yeah.
2 years ago. They're both pretty streaky. Tanner digs a lot of balls. Aiden can get fiery from the service line. He's not super tall, but a very disciplined sound blocker that in the win took a set from me and my partner a couple weeks ago. We
Yeah. And
still ended up 5-1 with 40 point differential, but sorry, go ahead.
I played against Tanner before, and Tanner sides out real well. I mean, he will just swing high and deep and tool you, and the ball's still going in. I mean, for a short guy, you don't think he's going to be doing that, but he will tool you, and then the ball's going in. He just sides out.
Yeah, he's got some good springs to him, and I think the best part of his game, I would argue, is his defense. I think he's going to, if you have bad shots, if you're not super precise, he will get to them and then put the ball away.
All right, let's move on to our twos here.
All right, let's scroll up a little bit. We'll show everybody the sheet name here.
All right, we'll go bottom up. Davis LeBlanc. I think they probably didn't have the best showing at Horsham Day. Don't know if they've been playing a lot, but I mean, a team like that, you have one bad weekend maybe, but they've been playing forever, so their chemistry's still there. Not too worried about them.
Yeah, I don't think they played together indoors, but I can't say that. I know they both played on the Philadelphia Founders for the 1 year that team was in the NVA, and can trust it's a team that they both handset, which I think can bode pretty well for teams out here and the grass.
Yeah.
Kind of like you're saying, like I wouldn't put it past them to do well, especially like the more you get reps,
Yep.
it might take a couple tournaments to shake off the rust. Like I could see some good volleyball from them this weekend.
And when I say I'm not worried about them, I mean I'm not worried that they're going to do bad. Like I think they'll
Yeah,
do
yeah, yeah,
just fine.
absolutely.
And
Yeah,
I will say just going forward, when we're looking at teams that only handset and maybe don't have the best hands, it's going to probably rain tomorrow quite a bit.
good
So
luck.
let's take that into consideration.
Good
Cole
point.
Cole, talk about a team that only handsets. At least from my experience, they chuck the ball. And if we're going to be playing with wet, heavy balls tomorrow, don't think it's going to bode well for them.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I don't know much about these guys other than I
Really?
think they did pretty well at Mayfest, right? Did
Yes,
they break pool at Mayfest?
they
Yeah,
broke pool, and I don't know how they did in playoffs. They either took ninth or 17th, but I think they're a team. They are a solid two seed. I don't think they're going to upset Ian or anything, but very solid two seed. I mean, good ball control, good defense, and they're brothers. They've got the chem.
yeah. It's one of those things. Like I have a little brother, and him and I play together. We fight a little bit. Brothers who can figure it out from a chemistry perspective tend to be really good partners.
Yeah. I'll let you take this next team.
Yeah. So Trevor Nachimzan and Alex Finch. Trevor, if I pronounce your last name wrong, I'm sorry. These are both guys that I play with a lot indoor. They played together at St. Francis for a little bit. Trevor's one of those guys that just does everything very technically sound. Little libero, he can dig really well, he can spike really well, and he's a very good passer. I think the wild card here is going to be, can Finch get going on serve and can he get hot blocking as well? Because Finch is a very twitchy athlete. He's just a big boy. And if he can get him, he's got like this really weird hybrid serve indoors that I haven't seen a chance. I haven't had a chance to see if he breaks it out outdoors. But if he can get himself going, I mean, it's kind of the story for everybody here in side out volleyball. If you can get hot from the service line and start to pick up digs and blocks, you can do well. And I think these guys have a chance to break pool.
Great, love it. Next team, Genova Poor. I mean, talk about just like a fun team. Genova, if you've never seen him play, 6'7" Adonis. Guy's got an eight pack and he's 43 years old. And if you don't keep track of him, you'll probably lose him. He'll probably be in a creek. You don't know where the hell he is, but super good attitude. And Eli, I believe, is his roommate. So, I mean, some brotherly chemistry, kind of. And they always seem to just figure it out and do solid together. I don't think they're going to win the tournament by any means, but I'd predict them going forward too, winning one playoff game and probably taking either a 17th or a ninth.
Yeah, and this is a team that's just going to do everything right. I think Genova is going to block line or angle, whatever he tells, he is going to block, and he is going to hit the ball hard angle, and you're not going to stop him because of how
Yeah,
big
yeah,
he is. And Eli Poor, like, hey, these guys are legends of the ECV space. It's a
yeah,
way of saying they've been around the block a little bit. They're up there in age, but they still get to the ball when they need to. They another team that just kind of like does everything right. They're going to side out. They're going to run plays on you and dig balls.
yeah,
I would not. This is another one of those teams that I would not be super happy to see in my pool.
yeah. All right. I don't know the next team. I'll let you take them.
Yeah, Kurt, and we don't know which Yoder this is. If this is Shane Yoder, Kurt and Shane will be a good team. Another like somewhere in the 5'10" to 6'2" range between two of them that just pass the ball, set the ball, hit the ball well and crisply, like a Central PA classic grass team. I don't have too much more to say other than they're going to be very fundamentally sound if this is the two guys that we're thinking of, and they can make some noise too. I tend to be. I think everybody from here up can certainly make some noise on a good day.
Yeah. All right. Jared Warner, AL Siobatru. And I'm not sure if I got that right. Probably didn't, but I mean, talk about another team with really good chemistry, been playing together for, I don't know, 5 years now. Um, AL tends to see all of the serves, so I think all of their success is dependent on how he plays siding out wise. I think scoring points, they're never going to vary too much. They kind of seem to know each other like well, like when they run a four call, when they run a three call, like they're pretty in sync. So they're going to figure out their points. Jared's going to get blocks. They're going to serve decently enough. They're not a crazy serving team. They depend more on the defensive and blocking aspect, but I think it's mostly on AL side out.
Yeah, Jared's a former All American middle indoors, if I remember correctly, playing at Kane. So he is very technically sound with his hands and with his arms. He makes like really disciplined, big moves up there. It's like you're saying, the threes and fours. I feel like I see him go up and the bare arms just kind of like gobble the ball up. So yeah,
Yeah,
to your point, can they continue to side out? I think another aspect to that too, of course, when you've got somebody that sees a lot of the serves, is can their partner set them a very
yeah,
sound, consistent ball
yeah.
in the rain? And I've seen Jared hands up before in the
Crazy.
rain, are you comfortable pulling the paws out, or are you going to have to trust the platform? We'll
Yeah.
see.
And I will, one thing I'll say about Jared is he's very quiet, not a big celebrator, but he's low-key intense. There was one point last year in pre-Rumble where he blocked me and I didn't hear him say anything, but I watched the film back and he roofs me and he turns back. He goes, "Not today, James." So he takes it pretty seriously, and I love that.
He's also a
Uh,
really good line judge. He's line judged some of our indoor matches when we played the NVA.
Love it, love it. Chapman Hagen, I mean, this kind of makes me think of Bernardo and Bilk, honestly. Like, can pass, can set, not like amazing setters, not bad setters, but they'll just swing at everything. And they're young, they jump, they swing, and it's like, oh my God, can you just hit one out or can you get ace? Like, I'm so sick of you guys siding out. I think their biggest struggle is finding ways to score points.
I think certainly. I think like just like everybody else, you got to be able to get hot from the service line to score. Like lamenting about, I haven't played these guys outdoors other than maybe quads. Chapman gets up a little bit more than you'll think. You'll watch him
Yep,
warm up, you'll be like, oh, that's a good spike, and then you play against, you're like, wait a second,
yep,
he's kind of up there.
yep.
So if they can get hot from the service line, if Chapman can get his hands on some balls up there and let Dustin run around and dig behind him, they've got a chance. I think if I remember correctly, they made some noise a couple years ago. I think they're still looking for a good finish this year,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised if this was their tournament to break out for this
yeah.
season.
I'd probably have them taking 17th, but wouldn't be surprised if they've pulled out a ninth by any means. Moving forward here, Josiah Picard, and I don't know Heffelfinger,
I don't
but
either.
Josiah, I mean, talk about like a guy who has tail on his serve, like left to right or right to left, whatever it is. That ball is annoying to pass, and he's not serving from the highest contact per se, but it is coming flat and it's going in a lot. And if he gets hot, I'd be more scared of his serve than, a guy that's touching 12 feet just because of the tail he puts on it.
Yeah, I would certainly rather face a top spin serve that just kind of like falls naturally straight down. Any sort of bit of curve and it starts to cross your body like that, it can be tough. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't know a ton about this team either. I haven't played against Josiah a ton, but know that he's been around the block, and
yeah,
that experience tends to bode well for people that are playing open volleyball outdoors.
yeah, really good athlete.
Yeah.
Rivera and Hop. I mean, the boys did not do so hot last weekend, but I will say they probably had the hardest pool. I think they finished 3-3. I'm seeing a bounce back in my eyes this week. I mean, Hop only plays men's open like twice or three times a year. So if you think about it, he's at his peak right now. And um, so I'm not too worried about them. I think they'll break pool. I think we'll see. Here's another team. I think probably 17th, and if they get hot, ninth.
Yeah, it's one of those things where if they can find a good draw, they could potentially make a quarter
Yep.
or a semi, depending on who they end up with, just based on experience. And Ant is I want to say like 6'2" to 6'4", former setter. I guess sometimes still setter indoors who can
Yep.
jump
Yep.
pretty well, and he can hit that damn ball
Yep.
hard. Another thing
Probably.
where if the wind's blowing the right way and he gets hot, like knock the ball off the net, Hop will go over on one or roll shot the ball around you and piss you off a little bit. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
this team could potentially make some noise if they're able to side out.
Probably best vibes of the tournament too.
Yes,
Uh,
very good vibes. Yeah.
Moving on, Matt Orris and Josh Bender. I don't think a pairing that we've ever seen before. Matt Orris typically is a guy who is either 50-50 on breaking pool play or not. And he's just really solid. Like passes well, sets well, hits okay. Like not a huge contact, not a huge arm, but like yeah, he sides out and he can be annoying. Josh Bender, on the other hand, we're talking about a D3 soccer national champion, plays professional soccer, semi-pro soccer, and he's probably the fastest 6'3" guy I've ever seen play volleyball. I mean, he can sprint. If you cut shot or high line and you're like, oh, that's good. You start to turn around and high five your partner. You look back, Josh is digging that ball. And it is a positive touch that his partner will set him on. He's so annoying to play when he is defending because he's just the fastest tall guy you've ever seen. And his blocking is so bad, but works. It's crazy.
I was going to say he's deceptive because I played against him a couple years ago and just felt as though
Yeah.
he tended to be in the right spot whenever I tried to do something sneaky. Like, oh, I'm going to go over on two sharp angle, and his arms would just be there, and I get blocked.
Yeah.
So this is a team that, barring ball control, like I think can annoy some teams
Yeah.
up above them.
I think this is a team where you're trying to play chess and he's just playing checkers. Like he's thinking a little below you and it's working in his favor. So don't think too much, just swing.
Cross training matters, right? Like people who are good at other sports will do well in volleyball, and the
Yeah.
soccer footwork I think bodes well for Josh.
Yeah. Siobhan Lorne, favorite name there, and then Josh Barnes. They did solid last weekend, put up a good fight against McKinley and I in pool play. I think this is a team that will be very good in like 2 or 3 years. I think right now they're still trying to find that consistent side out, but I mean, talk about a team with a lot of energy, a lot of jump serves, however, not the biggest block. I think they can find their side out. I think they need to work on finding better ways to score points against good teams.
I think it's a team with a lot of variability, right? When
I
you've got
agree.
two smaller
I agree.
guys that just hit the crap out of the ball every time, it's like, hey, if everything's bouncing in the right direction, they can, depending on their one seed, sneak a split, sneak a win, come out first in their pool. If things don't go right, you could see them potentially falling, depending on who their three seeds are. And we've talked about some good ones already today.
Yeah.
I'm certainly a fan of this team. I think they're loud, they're energetic, they're fun to watch. Like somebody who, if there was somebody filming like reels content there, they'd probably be focused on these guys more of the time.
All right, I'll let you take the next team the whole way.
Sleds and Ryan Thinnell. So I don't know anything about Sleds' partner other than they played together at Stevenson, but Sleds is usually who I play with. And he is, while I've only played against him a handful of times, I can imagine being very annoyed playing against, 5'10" at most lefty that jumps a bazillion inches in the air and hits the crap out of the ball. Lefty topspin serves are annoying to pass, and if it's
His
windy,
tails as well.
it serve tails a lot. Yeah, that lefty spin that goes right to left on you is a very annoying. Like trying to control your arms to pass that ball is not easy. And he's sneaky fast on defense, really good setter. I think it's going to ultimately depend on can he get hot defending the ball, like when him and I won a tournament last year. Like I think he has the chance to do that. He can certainly get hot, and he's played. I think this is third doubles tournament in the grass this summer. He's played a little bit of beach at Stevenson this year. Won a beach national champion.
Sick.
I'll be rooting for my guy, and then hopefully get this groin in the men's that we can make some noise next weekend.
Love it. All right, let's move on to the ones. Big dogs.
Big dogs.
All right, starting bottom up, we have ranked these, and again, this is just my opinion slash not Lucas's opinion, so he can do whatever he wants. I don't care. Um, Schaefer. Talk about D3 college guy, player of the year over here, playing with his brother. Well, chemistry. I don't think Christian will see a serve tomorrow. I think he can probably, stay up late tonight, do whatever he wants in the morning. Doesn't matter. He'll be he'll be sleeping on the court because he's not going to see many serves, but he can get his serve going. I mean, he's tagged my line before where I'm like, that ball's going out. Oh my God, that's an ace. Tyler is getting better. It's Tyler, right? His brother.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, Tyler's getting better. Tyler can side out. Like, you're not going to get free points on him. You're going to have to work for it.
Yeah, both guys have played at Southern Virginia. Like you said, Christian, National Player of the Year, recent national champion. If you have some time, go see the picture of him in front of Cookout with the national championship title. It's pretty amazing.
Amazing.
Christian's big, right? He's good, like
Long.
true, like 6'6", 6'7", and a sneaky big jumper. Like at least blocking
Yep.
and attacking wise, like
Yeah.
if you're not a big person yourself, you're going to have to make some really impressive moves because he will go up and he will hammer that thing, sharp angle, deep line over you. He's got all the shots. I think this
Yeah.
team's going to depend on, like you're saying, hey, I wouldn't serve the guy as a national player of the year. Now Tyler's an All-American himself, don't get me wrong, but I think this team will live and die by can Tyler side out. Can Christian set too? That's another thing. We see somebody that can
Yeah.
pound the ball. How do they set the ball?
Yeah, he can definitely hand set, but I don't know. I don't know if I've ever seen him bump set, especially not in the rain. So it'll be interesting. I think honestly, Christian in like 3, 4 years, once he gets a little more tenured blocking wise, some of his threes and fours could be gross. Like
Yeah,
if he gets a good sense for it. Moving on, Charles, another brother. We got a lot of brother teams.
a lot of brothers. Yeah.
Yeah,
Another like similar build brothers too, where Kyle
yep,
is tall, is like a good
yep,
6'6", 6'7" setter from St. Francis. And if it's Ryan is his brother, if I'm remembering correctly,
yep,
plays at Belmont Abbey for my boy,
yes.
Derek Sullivan.
And
This will
it's
be another
funny because
team that like go ahead.
the Ryan, the shorter one, is the outside
Yeah.
hitter, and Kyle, the much taller one, is the setter, which I
Yeah.
mean, not as uncommon today, but still very cool to see.
It is certainly very cool to see. This is a team that I'm less concerned and more confident in their setting each other because I've seen both of them play outdoor for a while and they're both pretty
Yeah.
good. I know Kyle and Noah Gunderson didn't do as well as we had pegged them to do last weekend at
Yep.
Horsham. So I'll be curious to see how Kyle can rebound from that now.
Yeah, I think I mean, if anything, they've got more fire now than ever. I mean, Ryan and his partner Tyler took a set off of Ian and Matt, so I think Ryan's probably feeling a little hot, and Kyle's probably feeling a little pissed off, ready to play some good ball. And I know they had some good tournaments last year. Um, I could see them getting fifth this tournament. Um, let's move on to Mason Nisley and Anthony DePalma. And if you don't know Anthony DePalma, guy's a football player stuck playing a volleyball game. His brother's the assistant defensive coordinator for the Patriots, and Anthony looks like he should be on the Patriots. Guy's got a huge jaw too. He just looks like he belongs in the locker room with the boys. Fiery too. Likes to yell. Likes to chest bump. He's a good time to watch, and they're both going to swing a lot. I think this is another team where setting is probably the biggest issue. However, it's not hand setting, it's just setting in general. So I don't think it'll be affected by the rain. I just think they're just going to be spiking at everything. So might just be fine.
I think of the one seeds looking at this list, they're up there for me in terms of high variance. where if everything's
Yes.
going in the right direction and they're getting their energy going, they're both going to be loud, they're both going to be fiery. I definitely see some chest bumps coming tomorrow. It's a team that you could see like sneaking into. I mean, at this point, they're basically right in the line of quarters, like sneaking into a quarters, depending
Yep.
on the draw, like putting a tough match in together. Yeah, kind of same thing. It's going to be if it's going to be rainy, if it's going to potentially be windy. How are the bump sets in the rain? And can you still side out?
Love it. Speaking of high variance, I think this will be my last high variance team and my team to watch for the tournament. Tim Callahan, honestly, he's just always my team to watch. He's hilarious. His smack talk is unrivaled. And then Trent Arena used to smack talk a lot and he used to get rowdy. He's grown up a little bit, matured. I think when he's playing with Tim, Tim's going to bring out the worst in Chart Arena and he's going to be the mouth of the tournament probably. It's going to be phenomenal to watch. I don't care to watch them play volleyball. I care to watch them talk to other people while they play volleyball. And Chart Arena, I guess, is going to play right side. What do you think?
I think that'll make sense. Yeah. Truthfully, this will probably be everybody's least favorite team to play against in the tournament. If you make a mistake against this team or if they make a play on you, you are going to know about it.
Yeah,
That being said, I
honestly,
love both of these guys, and I think that they're actually going to do pretty well together.
yeah, I think we'll see a quarters finish from them. When NBC.
Okay, we're back. Got disconnected by Zoom, but we're live. So, Matt Buffum, special guest, James, not me, but the cat. Oh, where were we?
Oh, we got Matt Buffum and Cat Buffum here. All right, we were talking Charterina and Callahan. It's been a little bit since we've recorded the original time. Now that we're here the second go round, but this team's going to be good. They're going to be annoying to play against. If you are a fan of crep talk, if you're a fan of teams of cheering, like this is going to be your favorite team to watch. If you're anybody else in the tournament, this is going to be your least favorite team to play against. Almost
Yeah,
guarantee.
yeah.
And I said out of respect because they're a damn good team, but
Yep.
they'll let you
I
know if you mess up.
I think there's a plus 200 money line on Callahan blocking someone and just mooning them with his actual butt.
I know he's come close to pulling out his actual butt, but
I
he
know.
may actually do it this time.
Hartnett Shorts, I think this is another team that a lot of chemistry here, and I don't think Landon has played a single tournament for at least doubles this year. However, he recently got married, and like Mr. Matt Elias, seems like once you get married, you're just better at volleyball. So I think that they're making quarters for sure.
I think that's certainly a very plausible outcome here. I think it is ultimately going to depend upon can you pass against Landon. If you can side him out, then you'll do fine against this team. But if Landon can get hot and score a couple points, like good luck.
Yeah,
That's all I gotta say.
I think Hartnett is similar to McGinley in his serving kind of mindset, where he serves a lot of balls in the court, not like the hardest or most unpassable, but he will put a lot of pressure on you. Moving on to Dan Waters and Jason Campbell, this is my team to watch for the tournament, aside from Tim Callahan. Where it'll just be really interesting because they've never played together. Obviously, they're both very good at volleyball, and Dan Waters is just a freaking goof of a volleyball player. You think that you're in his angle, you think you're playing good defense, and he will hit it sharper. He will hit it sharper. And you're like, is your shoulder okay, dude? And then you finally get sharp enough and he goes line. And you're like, well, why am I serving him?
Yeah, he seems to use a really good combination of his back, shoulder, elbow, and wrist to create funky angles that you're just not used to seeing. Like candidly, I if you put me in a mirror, I think you would see a lot of what you see in Dan Waters, and I say that out of like a lot of respect for Dan's game as well. Like he will hit the ball. He's not the hardest hitter. He's not the biggest jumper out there, but he hits really solid angles, and he's got a gnarly serve that has some good tail on it. And he doesn't make mistakes.
Yeah.
I think that's something that this team, if they can stay very consistent and continue to set each other, like the other team that's gonna be really annoying to play against, they're gonna side out, which means you're not gonna be scoring points on them. And if you let Dan get back there in crunch time, I
Yeah.
imagine he'll score a couple points.
And I think Dan has the most hustle of anyone over 6'4" I've ever seen. Moving on, Noah Gunderson and Jared Ray, team that's gonna probably be very strong on side out. I think the biggest question here is, are they going to be able to find points? And my first thought is, Noah's got a solid serve, but Jared coming back from playing pro in Hungary, and I think his serve could be dialed in. It could be better than it's ever been. I'm not really sure. Obviously, it's a different game, different ball, but what do you think, Matt?
On an unserious note, if Noah's wearing his 16U indoor shoes again, I think it's going to be a rough day if it's rainy for them. On a very serious
Yeah.
note, this is a very jumpy, long, like length is definitely the theme with this team. They're both a solid 6'4". Noah might not be 6'4", but he deserves 6'4" with how long his arms are and how nicely he could get up off the ground. Kind of like what you're saying. Can they score? Can they score points? Can they manufacture digs? I think serving is going to be a big thing for them. Obviously, if Jared can manufacture points with his big indoor professional jump serve, like when him and I are playing on Team Freedom together, they'll be fine. Get free balls. Like I think you and I talked a little bit off the air. Like, who do you serve here? I think you just kind of serve really hard and pray that they don't get a good set out of it, because with a good pass, this team is going to be next near unstoppable to
Yeah.
score against.
To quote the GOAT, Andre Belov, it's like, who do you serve? And he goes, the grass. Why
Yeah, I'm
would you
serving the lines or the grass. Yeah, I'm
why
not
would
trying to pick a
why
player
would
here.
you aim at a person? That's just silly. Um, Moving on to a team that I think there's a more clear serving target. We've got Sammy Jandea and Oscar. I don't know how to say his last name because he's the most Brazilian dude I've ever met. I haven't been to Brazil, but I've talked to Oscar once. Got a great accent. Doesn't really speak arid English. And I think he sounds like he's good at volleyball because he's that Brazilian. And like I said, I've never played against real Brazilian guys, and I don't know if this is normal, but Oscar will approach the ball like he's about to hit the coolest high line or coolest cut shot and just detonate it. 4 foot line, and you're like, where the hell did that come from? So I think Sammy's going to be in for a long day of siding out, which, he doesn't have a problem with, but I think he's going to see a lot of serves.
Yeah, something that's going to benefit Sammy here is a theme of what I have been talking about this entire call is like lefties are annoying to play against.
Yeah.
And Sammy's got, funky arm swing as well. He's got solid blocker. I think, yeah, to your point, people are going to see Oscar hit one ball and be like, I'm not going to touch this guy for the rest of the day. So team that's going to live and die by the side out. I've seen Sammy certainly play incredibly well, and I'm rooting for him here. Like, I think this is a team that could potentially make a semifinal, depending on how the draw makes out. I won't jump ahead until we start making our predictions, but I'm really curious to see how this team is going to do. How's our Brazilian friend going to do when the court gets bigger? There's no antennas, and he's allowed an extra touch on the block.
Yeah, I think that's their only risk is that Oscar's probably never played big court. But moving on to a team that's played a lot of big court, we've got Mr. Travis Moyer, who I'm not related to, and Logan Hunsberger, who have probably the best chemistry of any team at this whole tournament. I mean, talk about vibes, just they feed off energy, and even when they're missing serves and not siding out, vibes are high. I mean, they know how to play side-out volleyball, and they feed off big crowds. They feed off elements like rain and whatnot. So I think tomorrow could bode well for them. And if you look at their trajectory, they took fifth at Mayfest. They took third at Horsham Day, so they should take second tomorrow and then first at Pottstown. But I'm thinking they're taking semis at worst. Especially they took fifth last year at Pre-Rumble, and I think they're probably not too pleased with that. So I'm saying they're making semis tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll see if there's a correlation versus causation debate there for all my stat nerds.
Yeah.
I do think this team tends to be on the rise in comparison to where they started the year. Like you're saying, they've played so much grass volleyball that the elements I imagine are not going to phase them. Very, very tight chemistry-wise team. And it's ultimately like my X factor here is going to be how's Logan going to do? Travis is going to do his job. He's going to set well. He's going to put the ball away when asked. But for Logan, like, hey, can he continue to manufacture points? And when given free ball opportunities, is he going to be able to put them away?
Yep.
He has the potential to be the highest flyer, biggest spiker out there.
Yep.
I'm going to be very curious to see if, when given those opportunities, is he scoring?
Couldn't agree more. I'll let you tackle the next team.
All right, because you don't want to talk about yourself. Yeah. I have you guys finishing pretty well in this tournament. I think you and Country have developed a lot of chemistry for yourself. For those of you not cultured in the East Coast volleyball community, that's Ryan McGinley. How old is he now, James? You know better than me. Somewhere close to 40.
42.
Somebody who's like really turned his body around and was finishing in the money rounds of Pottstown at a significantly higher weight than he is now. James's partner Ryan is a very disciplined, sound player, like one of the more annoying blockers to play against out here. He makes really good, disciplined, late moves, gets his hand and arms on the ball very consistently, and also doesn't really make mistakes. And James, you kind of fly around everywhere. Defense tends to be your thing, but I think from watching back some video, I'll give you some credit. You've been flying a little bit this year. Been getting your head pretty consistently over the net. Enough glazing aside, I do think that grass volleyball is a good sport for you and McGinley. I think especially in this tournament, given the ascension that both of you have had over the past few tournaments. I guess you only really played one this year. I still think highly of you guys, and I think depending on how the bracket plays out, I would pick you guys to potentially make a final.
Love it. All right, Cap Elias. I think this is a team we actually don't need to talk about too much, just because, and like everybody knows Cap Elias at this point. Whether you're young, old, I mean, they've won. Cap is the most winningest ECV player of all time, and Matt Elias, very good friends off the court, which usually bodes well for chemistry on the court, and I think it shows for them. They've got great vibes, whether they're winning or losing. They usually show a lot of confidence, and they usually just figure it out. I mean, in that finals last week against McGinley and I, they were down 4-0. Didn't shake them up at all. They just played good ball, sided out, and figured it out. I think we'll definitely see capitalize in the finals. What do you think?
I think the biggest thing here for them is if you have an opportunity to put them away, you better do it. Otherwise, they are going to find a way to score. Given they've played together on and off for a few years. I think the last year into this year, they're playing together much more consistently. So there's even more chemistry. These are two of the most technically sound volleyball players that you will see out here. And regardless of how banged up they say they are, both of them can get on top of the ball a little bit, especially Ian. Do not under any circumstances let Ian get hot from the service line or you are toast.
As much as, people try to control not letting him get hot. You can't really, but
You can't really know. He's got that kind of server. Like I really hope this is out, or I
yeah,
really
yeah.
hope this hits the tape. There's certainly sometimes I've only beaten him like a couple of times, and it was because we didn't serve him. We served everybody else, and we also were very fortunate and sided out a lot.
You know what's funny is I will say about myself and Elias, you probably don't see many teams with continued success that Elias and I don't really jump serve all that much, which is just, I mean, not to get into it too much, but it's interesting for sure. And I'm sure if you broke it down, there's something there, but whatever.
Elias
Uh,
also has the nastiest float serve I've ever seen, so
yes,
it
when
kind of manufactures points like a jump serve sometimes.
that is true. Where I'm just trying to get the ball in and make digs. Dentler and Cox, I think a lot of people, everyone probably knows Andrew Dentler in this area. I mean, four-time Pottstown winner and no stranger to grass volleyball as he lives in Pottstown, Pennsylvania. And Dylan Cox lives in Florida. I think probably close to the beach. Probably not many people in this area know who he is, but I'll tell you, he's a really damn good volleyball player. And you might be thinking, oh, he's a beach guy. Maybe he won't be that good at grass. I think Dylan is going to be better at grass than he is at beach. Because if you've ever seen a video of him spiking, his approach is extremely aggressive. And if you put that guy on hard ground like grass or indoor, I think it's going to be really scary. And I think his stamina is probably amazing as someone who lives in Florida and just plays a lot of beach volleyball. I think he's going to excel. And he also has a serve that will tail on you, and it's already dangerous in short court. I think he's going to be disgusting at big court grass.
I feel like also with Sam players, they tend to be very sound in the wind. And somebody like who has lost 11-0 to Dentler recently in the wind and the rain, I think if there's a little bit of element tomorrow, I think this team will do pretty well. And also, important thing to call out is that I feel like Dentler's kind of dialed blocking. It feels as though he's getting an extra couple inches over the net. He's delaying very long. He's making moves at the bottom of his jump, which is if you ever try to squat and then lateral shuffle, it is not very easy on the knees. I think with a little bit of rain and a little bit of wind, if your setting is a little bit off as well, I think he's going to get really hot blocking, and that will make for a tough time to side out. And if you can only score when you serve, the other team can only score when they're serving, you need to side out against them.
Yeah, love it. All right. So, final predictions. I'm going to start with my one dark horse of the tournament. I'm actually going to switch my original prediction. I think Josh Bender and Matt Orse, they're my dark horse of the tournament. I think they could make quarters. I think that would be a huge, I mean, just getting in the money for this tournament is going to be very impressive. And then I'll take myself out of the equation, but I think my two teams in the semis will be, I'm going to say Sam, I'm going to go chalk. I think Sammy and Oscar. I mean, obviously, I made this list. So Sammy and Oscar, Moyer, Hunsberger in the semis. I think Cap Elias will be second, and I think Dentler Cox will finish on top 11-6 in the finals. What about you, Matt?
Right on. I know I'll give you a little bit more credit, but I can understand you also don't want to be that guy that picks yourself. I'm going to go top three. I think you guys make it out into the semifinals. And I also think Cap Elias, Dentler Cox. Depending on how the seedings shake out, I'll be curious to see which of the other one seeds. I do think it's going to be another one seed that makes it into the semifinals. most realistically big on trend, I think I would pick Moyer Hunsberger, but because, we love to spice things up a little bit, I'll take your dark horse pick and say I think Waters and Jason Campbell. It feels like Jason just kind of knows how to win. He's a very consistent, solid player, and I think Dan, when he can get hot, also does the same thing. So I'll pick them, but I'm going to take, just for the sake of chalk, I'll put Cap Elias, Dentler Cox in the finals, and I'll say Dentler wins that 11-8.
Okay, I love it. And I will say, whenever the bracket does come out, I think that 4 versus 5 matchup will be extremely crucial to who's. I think the 1-8, the 2-7, the 3-6, usually chalk. 4-5, whatever that is going to be a coin flip in my opinion. But looking for a really good day tomorrow. Hopefully it doesn't get canceled. Knock on wood. We like volleyball. We like having fun. We like hanging with the boys. And good luck to all. Matt, what do you got? End us out.
I think the biggest thing here, not to go backwards too far, is the pool play. I actually think is going to matter a lot here because of how deep the tournament is. Whoever can get a good point differential in pool play and get themselves a good seed out of the 1 seeds, I think that's going to bode well for them. I think there's going to be some sneaky 2 seeds or some sneaky landmines chilling all on one side of the bracket that you don't want to be on.
Yep.
So hopefully everybody goes out and has some safe volleyball, some dry volleyball tomorrow, get some good reps in before Pottstown. Excited to hear. I won't be there watching, but I'm excited to hear updates and just rooting for a good day for everybody.
Love it. All right. Thanks, Matt. Peace, boys.
Yes.